Hey, I'm Slash, and you're watching Moshcam. Really just being able to sort of do things at my own pace and having great guys to work with and just being generally inspired, you know, and just the passion of wanting to do it, you know. That's really all it is just loving it and just continuing, you know, as much as possible. I hate the word maturity. I mean, there's definitely an evolution that has happened from the time that we first got together up until this point, all the touring and the writing together and just knowing each other for a length of time and getting to know how we play and how interact and so on. So we definitely have reached a certain place that we weren't at before. But maturity is sort of a staunch, sort of stiff word. Yeah. It's just something that clicked right from the very beginning. Like, I mean, initially, Myles and I just had that spark, sort of a creative connection from the very, very beginning. And that's something that is established. It always happens when we work together. And then with Brent and Myles, Brent and Todd, it's the same kind of thing where we just have a really great kind of writing and performing and recording chemistry where everybody just really sort of digs what we are about individually and collectively, and it just works. Now, I don't think I ever really thought in terms of solo artists per se. I've always been, ever since I first started playing guitar, I've always been drawn to the band dynamic, but being in a position to sort of steer it where I sort of wanted to go and be sort of more of the captain of the ship was how it first started. And at this point, now that we've been working together for a while, it definitely has turned very much into sort of a band, but you know, all I do is sort of just spearhead it. You know? Not any one particular sort of style within the sort of rock and roll genre. There's a lot of different things that I get into when I'm writing. So whatever works for the song or whatever I feel at the moment. So, I mean, I think this album has a lot of diversity in it as far as feels and rhythms and approaches, you know. So heavy metal's great for when it's needed, and you know, ballads are only great for a little bit. You know, I don't want to have too much of that. You know, I just sort of do what it is that I feel at the moment. I don't think about it at all when I'm actually writing a song, but sometimes you'll stumble on a riff and go, man, this will sound great in front of some stack of Marshalls and a driving drum beat, and that's just part of the whole sort of writing process. But I mean, when we put a song together, we put it together without thinking of anything beyond what's happening within the structure of the song at the time. And then we play it, we rehearse it live, you know, so they're just tailor-made to be done in a live setting later, you know. I never, you know, when I have downtime from touring, I'm right back into the studio again, so they're sort of interlocked. The only other thing that I'm doing right now that I'm very passionate about is horror movies. And so I've got a horror movie production company, and I produced one last year, and I've got another one coming out next year. And then I have a bunch of different projects, sort of like the equivalent of spinning plates going on, to see which one's going to stick. Well, see, the thing is, you get addicted in a way to touring because there's a certain kind of pace that goes with it, and there's a constant movement, and you know, you've always got the gig to look forward to, and so on. And so, you know, if you do that for enough consecutive months, it becomes so much of a lifestyle that when you stop, it's sort of a shock. You know, all of a sudden you're just sort of sitting on the couch, and there's a kitchen behind you. I'm just picturing my own house, you know, and the kids are like, hey, let's go do this and let's do that, and you're like, okay, cool. And it just takes you a while to sort of decompress and fall into that other kind of a rhythm, you know. It's funny because they listen to what Dad listens to, so they very much know what they like and what they don't like in that, you know, in that world. And they listen to this album from the very beginning of the demo tapes all the way through, you know, the pre-production into the recording, rough mixes and all that kind of stuff. And so they're very opinionated about what they like and don't like. But then when they're with their mom, they listen to mom's eclectic taste, which is anywhere from hip hop to pop music to EDM and just that whole other sort of side of things, which they're forced to be able to pick and choose what they like and don't like out of. The highlights from that last show that we did, that was a cool show. I mean, it was recorded, so it was great sort of seeing it back and going, oh, it was a good concert. I remember having a really good time that night. But the thing about Australia is when we first got together, we came here first. And we were really very warmly embraced. You know, it was really a sort of nice feeling. So we've been here more times in this configuration than I have in any other time in my career. And it's just a great, very sort of passionate audience that knows the rock and roll and are very sort of sincere and direct about it. And the fact that they dig us is awesome. That's the tricky part. Well, I mean, there's songs that we do well, you know, that I feel comfortable doing all the time, and so those always stick around. And then sometimes I can throw in the odd one in, you know, just for the hell of it, but it's not in the set all the time. And then now that we keep amassing more original material from this band, you know, 2 albums worth at this point, we end up doing the majority of the set is the more later stuff. You know, people are sort of wanting to hear it, which is a good thing. So, you know, you just sort of figure it out. I have the main thing is I have 2 hours to toy with. I really enjoy being able to go back and play stuff that I didn't play for a really, really long time. So I think I'll always, you know, be throwing those in there. That was one of the you know, great things about doing the sort of solo thing in the beginning. The original concept was to be able to play stuff through my whole catalog. I'm a little nervous to say it in case it doesn't end up being the case, but Beneath the Savage Sun is this sort of long, epic song, which I think is going to be really cool to play in front of an audience. So we do a European tour before we do Australia and New Zealand. So we'll get it into the set, and if it goes well and if it works out well, then it'll be there. All right, for more of this, subscribe here.